This is David Smoak's statewide Texas high school football podcast on 365 Sports and powered by Smoaky.com and sponsored by Peter Chevrolet in Longview, an innovative third-generation family dealership dedicated to ethics, integrity, and the community, while creating friendly, intelligent, and transparent environment to assist with any automotive need, large or small.
McNair in the gun with under 2 minutes left, down 44-0, trying to get a score. English right side, and he will score. Touchdown, the senior, Raul English from 2 yards out.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. We are an insurance provider built by Texans for Texans. We've been protecting families in our great state since 1952. Sturdy Steel. We build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide. Batteries Plus. We have the person who can fix what you need with expert knowledge on batteries and have you on your way and good to go in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, with locations throughout the Southwest, serving up tasty food since 1989, including off I-35 in Waco. Next in line, Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. Marco's Pizza, Marcos.com. Pizza lovers get it with 5 locations in the Waco area. Bird Culchin Ford on the Loop and Highway 6 in Waco. And Waco's trusted Ford dealer since 1936. And customers know they can expect us to be fair, honest, affordable, and always committed to the tradition of quality service.
2 weeks left. 2 weeks left in the Texas high school football season. Garrett Ross and I started. We've been doing the weekly podcast, and we appreciate the growth this year. We really have gained a lot of subscribers, hopefully because of the content and also because of the interviews, which is part of the content we've had with some great young men and also some great stories too, and try to bring a little unique human interest to it, as we've done as the emotions of John King when he came back from the throat and mouth surgery because of cancer, the emotions of Claude Mathis just a week or so ago because of his journey. Oh, by the way, he talks about how he's trying to control it. They got into it a lot last week against Willis. There was constantly it was rambunctious, I think is a good word, between DeSoto and Willis. So here's what we have for today. Garrett, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
As always, Garrett Ross running the mothership. We will look at, from my perspective, I'll bring up some of the best wins or games that kind of popped at me. Quarterfinals last week. And, of course, the Class 6-man, Class 1A, had their semifinals. They get this week off, and they'll be a part of the state championship week starting next Wednesday in that incredible scene for, 4 days at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. We will also today look at a nugget about Kilgore. They have one loss. It was the opening loss of the year to Carthage, who, of course, is still playing. And then an update on our young man that we have followed, really I have, with my website for at least, this is his 4th year, but really kind of popped open last year with Keegan Ash, the running back who we had on the show recently from Mount Enterprise, and what he did last week and where he is in the search of what records has he broken, what record is still out there, and just kind of look back. We'll have a video, a highlight of the record-breaking run from what he did last week against Bremont. So, Ryan Abner of Grandview will join us today, the head coach. Incredible success in many ways, even as a player in high school at Judson High School, Converse Judson. We will talk with Ryan Abner at Grandview in a moment. So here are some of the games. I got this list. There's all these games, and you can see it's just scratched out all over the place. Allen beating North Crowley. Last year, North Crowley won, remember, the state championship, but Allen with Lee Wigginton, 33-21, great win for them. Duncanville in the rematch was able to handle Waxahachie, but still a close game. Galena Park North Shore hammered Dickinson 46-29. Let's see here. I mentioned DeSoto beat Willis. How about C.E. King twice beat Summer Creek this year? Twice. 2-0 against Kenny Harrison and a fantastic team from humble Summer Creek. C.E. King won that game. They got on them early and ended up winning 24-21. Aledo just cruised by Denton Ryan. First game was a 1-point win. This repeat, 43-17, Aledo in search for their God knows how many state championships. And then Frisco Lone Star beat Highland Park. It was one of those games where it was kind of close. Then Lone Star kind of opened it up. And then here comes Highland Park, but Frisco Lone Star wins by 20 in that one. Smithson Valley shut out the Unicorns of New Braunfels 24-0. How about Melissa beating Argyle 20-19? Great win for them. Let's see here. Salina 52-27 over Alvarado. Sets up a showdown with Stephenville, which we'll get to later. All the distractions and all the drama and all the issues because of the issues with child pornography, etc., going on in the school district, and Salina continues to win. Also, Carthage in the rematch against Athens. Remember what was 61-56? We had Athens head coach Zach Carroll last week. 63-28 Carthage. Second time around, they were just too much. West Orange Stark lost to La Vega earlier in the year, won 35-20 in the rematch. Yoakum beat defending champion Columbus 20-14. They got that star freshman and other great playmakers at Yoakum. Gunner beat Leonard's 45-14. Newton and Arp. Arp is pretty good. Josh Smith, the running back, broke the single-season rushing record for touchdowns in a season for Arp with his 30 overall for the season. But, man, Newton is just so good, 66-20. Upset here, East Bernard with 4 losses beat Tidehaven, who had beaten them 59-6 just a month ago. And East Bernard got him there. Joaquin, the Rams are getting overshadowed because of what Mount Enterprise is doing in 2A on the East Texas border. Nice win for them, too. And also, Jayton hammered Klondike, one of the 6-man scores, 64-19. And Gordon, we featured them. Josh Bragdon is a really good coach for Union Hill. Right next, it's in Gilmer, basically, but they didn't have enough to do against unbeaten Gordon. Now, Keegan Ash, the senior running back, the Texas Tech commit. We had him on the show just recently, remember? Unbelievable story with what he does. Very quiet-spoken guy. He did break the single season, the unbreakable record, single season rushing yards record. And what was amazing is that he's on the verge of others. He never thought he would get to this one. Not many people thought anyone would ever get to this one. It was set in 1953. We'll have a graphic on that in a moment. But here is Keegan Ash breaking the single season most yards rushing in Texas high school football history against Bremont.
4th and 13. Ash is in the gun. He's going to take the snap. Ash just going to run straight right. There goes Ash. There goes Keegan Ash. There's the record. He's going to be into the end zone for a touchdown.
Northeast Texas.
Keegan Ash has put the record to Ash.
To Keegan. And here are his stats in that game. I put them up, the official stats. 47 carries, 501 yards, 6 touchdowns. He had 2 catches, both touchdowns for 102 yards and 2 scores. I had him at 4 2-point conversions. Actually, they came back to correct that. He had 2 in the 64-58 quarterfinal round win against Bremont, whose quarterback, Sam Kozowski, threw for 7 touchdowns. He sets the single-season record for most yards in the history of the state. And look at the list now. Remember, we've been tracking this really all year long. Keegan Ash at the top. The unbreakable record as far as all-time rushing yards. He's close to that. Look how close he is. He is 90 yards. 90 yards. Now, Mount Enterprise is playing Shiner. They're always good. They don't give up much. They don't give up much of anything. There's a reason they have multiple state championships. They've been here before. They have incredible speed. This is going to be interesting. Keegan needs 90 yards to set the all-time rushing yards record set by Kenneth Hall in his last year at Sugarland in 1953. Do you remember Keegan Ash started this year like he wasn't even in the top 11. That's how we started. He was under 80. He was under 8,000 yards, but he's gone nuts. And now 11,232. And I always look at that list of Jonathan Gray, played at Texas, ended up in the NFL. Traylon Shedd, Texas. Rodney Thomas, A&M, and then the NFL. Robert Strait played at Baylor. Jaquiz Rogers at Lamar Consolidated was a hell of a running back at Oregon State. And then you had Trey Williams, who had a spectacular year at Spring Decaney. So those are the stats. That's where he is. 1 game left, maybe 2. 1 for sure against Shiner for Keegan Ash to keep adding to that. If he can get 91 yards, he breaks the all-time record. And here's how he sits when it comes to all-time yards rushing in a single. See, oh, no, here goes the career points. All right, now, I didn't think he was going to get this one either. Did not think this was possible. And then he starts getting 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 touchdowns in a game. Plus, he adds on those 2-point conversions. He is now 26 points away from tying Jonathan Gray's record of 1,232 points. He already owns the national record for most points scored in a season. So look at where he is. 163 rushing touchdowns, 10 receiving touchdowns, the fumble return, the kick return, the interception return. He has, I think it's 73, 75 2-point conversions. 26 points for him in a normal week would be nothing. He gets 5, 6, 8 touchdowns a week. This is going to be a challenge against Shiner. Should be one great game. So he needs 26 points to tie the record, which means 4 touchdowns and a couple of 2-point conversions, 5 touchdowns. And I don't know what's going to happen here. And he breaks the record straight up. We'll see what happens. And Mount Enterprise can win this game, and Keegan doesn't have to break the record yet, and then would be a part of the state championship week next week in Arlington. So do we do the single season rushing yards, Garrett?
We did that.
If you get that, because I want to. So that was the one that was the unbreakable record. A lot of different people took a shot at the single season rushing yards record. We've given you the all-time rushing yards. Shatters it. If he has any kind of a game against Shiner coming up. It's hard to imagine. I've been covering high school football in Texas since 1981. And this list we've seen, like, for example, in the all-time list, the most recent to get anywhere close was Trevor Spates at McAllen Memorial. There's others who have taken a run at the all-time record, but nobody. I mean, even Jonathan Gray, who was in a state championship game almost like he was born in Aledo to do that, he still was 300 yards away from Kenneth Hall, and Keegan Ash now is 90 yards away from the all-time rushing record. He holds the record for most rushing yards in a career. He holds the record for most points in a single season. He's on the verge of becoming the all-time leading rusher in Texas high school history, and also most points scored if he can have a game against Shiner, or maybe do it over the next couple of weeks if Mount Enterprise can get to Shiner and win, get to the state championship. I did text Scott Ponder, the head coach at Mount Enterprise, and he said, I just hope we have enough gas left in the tank. This has been a run. This has been a run for them. All right, so here's the single season rushing yards record. He's at the top. He's at the top. And I'm not just saying he got to it by 5 yards. Keegan Ash exploded past the all-time single-season rushing yards record. He blew past Kenneth Hall by almost 300 yards with 1 and maybe those 2 games left to play. So good. Now, at the bottom, this is the 2025 season. Remember El Paso? It seems like forever ago. Ernie Powers at El Paso Franklin, John Hebert at Strake Jesuit in Houston. And then Christian Villarreal was getting all sorts of attention, and he deserved it, earned it. And then they went out in the first round when Ozona was beaten by Anson. It looked like all of these guys had a chance. They're all gone. And Keegan Ash is on top for this year, but also in the history single season in Texas. One note, did not mention the Kilgore win. They beat Fort Bend Crawford to get to 13-1, 30-3. traded information with Clint Fuller, their head coach. He doesn't talk a lot. He's very quiet. They have nominations for Player of the Week that they do with the Longview News Journal and the Tyler paper, and he'll get me some stuff too. Their defensive line at Kilgore has combined for 300 tackles this year. Now, defensive linemen are like, especially defensive tackles, they're not going to have a lot of tackles. They're not going to have many of them with like 10 or 12 or like linebackers. They also have 15 sacks. They have 22 and a half tackles for losses. The linebackers have 227 tackles, and they have the same amount of sacks and tackles for losses. So combined, there are 25 sacks, 45 tackles behind the line of scrimmage, and guys like Cameron Christian, Bassan Williams, Bubba McGowan, and Isaiah Waters are leading the way statistically. The defensive backfield, the secondary at Kilgore, has 19 interceptions. Jacalen Sheffield, who's a great player, even last year, leads the way. LaKelian Graves has 6 picks, 2 interceptions in that win against Crawford, and also as a receiver. Cameron Christian in that win against Crawford had 9 tackles, a sack, and a blocked field goal. They just dominated that game, and they also put up nearly 300 yards rushing in the win. So that's a note about Kilgore, who has been knocking on the door, lost in the state championship last year, and trying to get back there if they can win this week. Now, when we come back, Grandview football coach Ryan Abner has been successful since he was a high school player at Judson, Converse Judson. What Grandview has done the last 15 or so years is phenomenal. They had a great run, won state championships, continued to knock on the door, had a year or two that was kind of a reset, and they're right back in the semifinals in 3A Division I. We'll hear from Ryan Abner in just a moment. This is the statewide high school football podcast, thanks to Peter Chevrolet, thanks to Batteries Plus, and thanks to you and 365 Sports.
Go-to guy. Can you fix my smartphone?
Yes.
Do you have car batteries?
Yeah.
What about golf car batteries?
Of course.
Battery from a G-Fob?
Absolutely.
My boat?
Huge variety.
Toy boat?
Sure.
Motorcycles?
You bet.
My apartment building?
Whole building.
Do you have batteries for my party lights?
Yeah.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Peters Ram in Longview is gearing up for this football season during the Make This the Summer event going on now. Make all the right moves by getting 25% off MSRP on new select Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cabs. The season is looking good with the largest selection of new Ram trucks at Peters Ram during the Make This the Summer event. Online at peterscars.com.
At Sturdy Steel, we build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide, we're proud of our reputation for dependable, high-quality work and strong client relationships that stand the test of time. From concept to installation, our team of skilled drafters, welders, and installers takes pride in delivering seating solutions designed to last. With a focus on dependability, transparency, and service, we are here to make the unique needs of architects, contractors, schools, and venues across the country. We ensure every project is seamless, sturdy, and ready for generations of fans to enjoy. That's Sturdy Steel. This is David Smoak's statewide Texas high school football podcast on 365 Sports and powered by Smoaky.com and sponsored by Peters Chevrolet in Longview, an innovative third-generation family dealership dedicated to ethics, integrity, and the community, while creating friendly, intelligent, and transparent environment to assist with any automotive need, large or small.
McNair in the gun with under 2 minutes left, down 44-0, trying to get a score. English right side, and he will score. Touchdown, the senior, Raul English from 2 yards out.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. We are an insurance provider built by Texans for Texans. We've been protecting families in our great state since 1952. Sturdy Steel. We build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide. Batteries Plus. We have the person who can fix what you need with expert knowledge on batteries and have you on your way and good to go in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, with locations throughout the Southwest, serving up tasty food since 1989, including off I-35 in Waco. Next in line, Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. Marco's Pizza, Marcos.com. Pizza lovers get it with 5 locations in the Waco area. Bird Culchin Ford on the Loop and Highway 6 in Waco. And Waco's trusted Ford dealer since 1936. And customers know they can expect us to be fair, honest, affordable, and always committed to the tradition of quality service.
Ryan Abner, head coach at Grandview High School. The run that they've been on now for about a decade plus is very impressive, and they're in the semifinals in Class 3A Division I, and we highlight what they do, the Zebras. I love, first of all, that and Ryan Abner and his career. So what is it about you? Converse Judson State Championship, baseball team on the verge of one, just not quite. Football, you've been an assistant, you've been a head coach, you've won everywhere. I also know your wife has won a softball championship recently. What is it about the Ebner family and winning?
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I mean, when you're in the midst of it, it doesn't really feel that way. It's all about the work that you put in. And I just feel like my whole life I've had that will to want to do things a certain way. And that's, my mom said, you've always had a great work ethic and things that you do. I've had a lot of great people. My wife, being married to her, she's been very successful. I have a great group of coaches around me, our community, and admin, and all the students and school. They do a great job of supporting us and the team. And I've been here my whole career. And, once you get to a place that you know that you love and you have the sport to do it, I think I've been fortunate throughout my life to have that. And along the way, I've had some great coaches like Coach Rutledge at Judson, and along the way, my college career as well, playing baseball, that, when you're fortunate enough and God blesses you with great people in your life, I feel like sometimes you're able to do great things.
What was it D.W. Rutledge taught you, or maybe a lot of what he taught you?
Oh, I mean, that man had more motivational things, very discipline oriented, just the fierceness of how you attack every day, the opponents, practice. He's very much like a Coach Saban. I mean, it's going to be a certain way, and you're going to make sure that's done that way, and the intensity of the way you did things, and then just the joy of what he did, helping to raise young men, and the messages he put into your heart and your brain to go on and be successful for the rest of your career. He's a guy that's impacted a lot of young men.
Well, I went to Randolph, by the way, which sometimes I could just take a 9-iron and hit Judson High School from Randolph, the old high school where we played. And I remember, and I say that because of my age, I graduated in 1977. We didn't have a very good senior year. There were 5-4-1, which for Coach Mickler was like, he might as well have just blown up. But Judson wasn't Judson yet. It was just not there. Clemens was there. They were better in basketball. And then there's that surge of what Judson put together in D.W. Rutledge. And what was that like to start seeing and being a part of that team winning the way they did that program?
I remember watching them as a kid in the 80s and going to Alamo Stadium. And my dad was a fireman in San Antonio, but also refereed football. And so we would go to a lot of games if he wasn't refereeing one. And I remember thinking of them like a university, just of how big the school become, and I don't know that I knew the difference between them or the Texas Longhorns, really. And then you finally get to junior high, and you start to be around great coaches, and you see the system that he had built. It started with Coach Arnold before him, and then Coach Rutledge took over, and so they were successful. I think they won the first one in '82 or '83, and then it was a program, a legit program, top to bottom, 7th through 12th, very organized, and there was a way in which you did things, and it was very disciplined, very much like a military style thing. And so I was born in '78, so really and truthfully, as soon as I can remember, that's just how it was, and that's just how you grew up, and that was the way of the world, and pretty much you did whatever he said.
Was that back when Chris Pryor was putting on a show as a running back too? Were you old enough to remember that?
I do remember. I don't know that I went to a game, but I remember him being on the news.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I met him once playing football at junior high. We all walked up there and had a Saturday game and stuff, and he showed up, and I remember being in all of them. Gerard Douglas was the running back when I was there. Yeah, both of them were. And Gerard ended up going to Baylor. It was unbelievable. So in the history of Grandview, in my website, started back in the early 1900s, obviously. There was a team in 1945 with Otto Rome as the head coach that was 8-0-1. But then they had a 10-2 team in 1950. I'll eventually get to this. 1981 with Larry Lanier, they won 10. Lance Stevens in '89, they won 10. There was a 3-game stretch with Mike Thames in '92, but they won 9. Then Aubrey Sims had 2 10-win seasons. Casey Walraven, right before everything popped for Grandview, had a 12-1 year in 2015, but there were like 3 or 4 10-win seasons, Ryan, and now there's been 8 of the last 10, including this year. What changed? I think what changed, in my view, I was here before all the rest of them were. Going into my 3rd year, Coach Sims came in, and he's the one that I felt started changing the culture. It took a lot of discipline with the kids, kind of changed the way the community thought about what was going on. He was very, hard-headed in a way where, not in a bad way, but just in a way that basically this is the way we're doing it. If you don't like it, that's just too bad. Things kind of started changing from that point on. It was kind of like, okay, this is how we're doing things. He was fortunate enough to win, and he motivated kids great, and this place fell in love with him, and he did a lot of great things for this place. And then when he left, Coach Walraven took over, and in 15 is when he made me the defensive coordinator. I had been the head baseball coach up to that point, and he did a great job. Just kind of carried it on, and then the layout was set. And then Coach Davis came in for a couple of years and added a couple of things that he brought from friendships. And at that point, I was doing a lot of different roles besides DC, just helping with team management and things like that, as well as being the head baseball coach. And they had talked about me doing it before, and I said, I don't want any part of that 80 deal. I've been with those guys and all the stuff you see them going through. And but after Coach Davis left, it was kind of one of those things you just thought, if any time, it's now. And so he had called me in and let me know he was retired and asked if I was ready to do it. And I said, I think at this point it'd be time to make that change. And we just hadn't been looking back ever since.
So, yeah, you won as an assistant, the first one that Grandview won in 2018. Dominant team, had the great quarterback and many others that were so good. And then you take over and actually go 15-1 and win it. What was it like? You were ready. You had marinated. You had been seasoning. You were ready for the moment. You'd been coaching baseball to a high level. What was it like, though, taking over the keys to a car that had just won a state title?
To be quite frank, I was scared to death. Scared to death. Adding the 80 role to it. I wasn't concerned about being the head football coach, having been a head baseball coach for so long. To me, and being a football coach all that time as well. But just, you don't want to be the guy that doesn't win it after winning it, obviously, and that's a selfish personal reason. But at the same time, you add all the extra stuff on, and when they give you the 80 role, they don't hand you a book with all the ways to how it's ran. So you've got to come up with some ideas and then just deal with all the issues as they arise. And this place has been my home, and that was also a concern of mine. Was you start making choices and people start getting mad at you. Mm-hmm. And luckily, it's been great. Mr. Basham, our superintendent, does a great job supporting He's been a great person in my life. He was the principal before that. And we've got a bunch of, I think one of the special things about Grandview is our admin is aligned. We have a great school board that lets you work. They're not in there to try to make their opinions known. They allow you to do your job, but our admin is aligned. You know, I get along really great with the principals. The superintendent we're really close. And so when you're out there you're on the same train, going down the same track, things I think work out really good. And we've been here a long time. So there's continuity. The kids know we love them and what we're about. And so I feel like that's one of the edges that we have here in Grandview.
Well, when everything's aligned from the board to the superintendent to the principal to the AD, whoever else coaching, whatever sports, man, it makes it a lot easier and you're not fighting against each other because that happens. And it can, but it just seems like it makes it like everybody should have learned from that. But it just seems like too many school districts, there's always this like fight, egos, power plays, turf wars, etc. My son's not playing, my daughter's not playing. And that's great. You guys have that kind of alignment.
Yes. I have people all the time ask a couple of different questions. One, what should you look for in a school? And that's what I tell them. And then also, you know, why have you been there that long? Are you really going to retire there? And my answer is always yes. I mean, it's a great place. I know I'm happy. I may not get paid as much as a guy in Allen, Texas or Southlake or things like that. But I know that my kids have gone here. My son just graduated last year, got a great education, loved his experience. I've got another one in fourth. My wife's here now after being a college softball coach for 25 years. And she's done a phenomenal job. And it's like I tell people all the time, they're asking, are you going to leave? Are you going to leave? And I always go, this is my home. This is where I want to be. This is where I want to be the rest of my career. And I enjoy coming to work. And I don't think a lot of people, head coaches, especially across the state, ever get to experience that. And that's 100% of my life here.
What is, do you have time for hobbies?
Yes and no. I can tell you it's a lot harder having them with all the deep runs, which is also fun. So we have a boat. We go out on the lake when we can. We go to Colorado twice a year. I tell everybody that's the only 2 weeks I get off a year. We go over Christmas. My parents take us and the entire family up there, and they do that just so we get away. And I put the phone down. She goes, "Can't nobody bother you from 12 hours away." And over 4th of July, we go to Colorado as well. And so that's really our time. If it's not doing that, we're at the lake trying to get on the boat. My youngest son plays a lot of sports, and my oldest one graduated and played all three. And then we spend a lot of time at other ballparks when they're doing. I helped coach my son's youngest baseball team up till this year, and so we spend a lot of times doing that. So we don't have a ton of hobbies. It's mostly sports. I've been pretty much doing it my whole life since I was 4. So when I retire, I'm planning on having a lot more. Yeah,
the Colorado any time of the year to me is beautiful, whether it's in the middle of winter. We one time had a family trip for 5 days or 6 nights or whatever, 7 days, 6 nights up. But it was during the summer, but it was beautiful. Oh my God. It just went up Pikes Peak, and on the way there we drove, and then I think it was Winter Park is where we had a place at the bottom of ski slopes. Obviously at the time there was snow on some of the mountain caps or whatever, but not where we were. But it was just, I'll tell you, the scariest thing was going over Royal Gorge.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm scared of heights, Ryan. How about you?
I found the same thing. We cruise Can-Ams and stuff through the mountains in the summer, and we're about 2 or 3 foot from the edge, and it rattles me to the bone. I found that I'm not a big fan of heights either. I'd rather be in the middle of the trail, and then people are coming down the other side. And but man, it is unbelievably beautiful. We found a town in Kalpatora where it's in the middle of the mountains. The only dirt roads in, and you can stop and have a burger. And on the way, you have to go over a pass. And when we went over the pass, it literally started sleeting on us like July 2nd or something.
Oh my goodness!
It was the rainstorm came in and turned into snow. So it's awesome to see. You realize how good God is when you get up there and how beautiful you make things.
No question. When we went up Pikes Peak, and you're going up it's kind of a sandy road, dirt road, a little bit of gravel, and you could literally you're like maybe a foot or two from the edge, and you could hear the gravel falling down. I don't know how there aren't like 4,000 cars at the bottom of that particular trail. All right. This year did not start great for you. I mean, I'm not saying you didn't win some games, but you had to scratch and claw. And then, of course, you had the loss, Malakoff. We know Jamie Driscoll in the kind of team. You guys have played them so many times. It's almost like you might as well be in the same district. And then the Whitney game to start off district, you were good. You played good people because you always do. But what happened? What clicked? Did that eventually make you into the run you're having now?
Oh, absolutely. We're big on, we don't want to lose, but we're big on, you're never a loser if you learn, but you can make a loss a great impact on your season. We've done it numerous times before. And even in 2019, it was the deal for us. We lost to Whitney that year as well. We were really banged up that year, but it kind of spurred us on. In 2018, we didn't know if we even would make the playoffs. We were trying to get fourth, and we lost. We got our brains kicked in by Glen Rose to start the year. Fixed some things, and then got beat in the last minute by West, and had great leadership. Some kids got together and told them we're not going to lose again, and they just didn't. And this year, as soon as the game was over against Whitney, I told them to go straight to the locker room, and we had a hard conversation that I thought needed to be done when it hurt the most, and just kind of drew a line in the sand. I said, it's up to y'all, and if we've got to win the next two games just to get in the playoffs. If we don't, that'll be the greatest failure of my coaching career, because this team has the ability and capabilities of making a run if they want to, but it's going to be on y'all. And we've put the pressure on them, and they've risen to everything we've asked them to do. And so we feel real pleased about where we're at and the growth that they've had since then.
Commerce had a great run this year. You took care of them. That was the game that was nuts, 49-48. What time in the morning did that game end? Because that was the weekend where there were all sorts of lightning delays throughout Friday night.
Yes, sir. It was of Thanksgiving. So we got done at 1. When I looked at my watch after shaking hands and giving them the gold ball, it was 1:32. It was a 4-hour rain delay. Yeah, it was not the funnest of nights, I can tell you that. But we luckily had a game against Eagle Mountain earlier in the year where we had to sit for about an hour and a half. And so I told them it was a possibility. And throughout the evening after we came off the field, we had to eat our post-game meal and during the break just to keep them fed. But I told them that before the game, it's going to be like an Eagle Mountain deal. And even during the break, they were like, Coach, are we really going to stay on that long? I said, guys, we may go out there for 5 minutes and then play for 5 and come back for 35 and go back in. I said, the sun may be coming up and we're done. I said, we're not leaving. And I just didn't want to take another bus trip. And I felt like with the rain chances in the next day that, being a baseball coach for so long, you're always doing that in the spring, was if we get to Saturday at midnight and the score is what it is, we're losing. So, we've got to stay here and get this thing in. And luckily we found a little window to play in and we're able to scratch one out at the bitter end.
So if you hadn't have had that experience against Eagle Mountain, would you have handled this experience differently, or would have been able to handle it as well?
It wasn't so much for me, I don't think, just because of all my experience with baseball. It was more just for them having to deal with it and understand that it is what it is. Try to keep a maturity about you, try to stay focused on what you're doing, and, make sure that you're eating and drinking water as you can, and just keep yourself ready to go. In both games, we came out on playing better than when we went in. So I think it also does. I think we, as a coaching staff, do a great job of adjusting at halftime, and we had a long half on that one. We agreed that would be the halftime, and we were able to make some adjustments with the kids and have a long time talking to them. And they went out there and took those changes and ran with them. So I felt like that was a big bonus for us on that night.
Well, you had obviously Dominguez was out that game, and then Blue Hubbard and Mason Landers. They had big games. How are you health-wise right now as you enter this semifinal game?
I would say we're as banged up as any team playing in the 5th round. But like I tell the guys, you wouldn't worry about it if we weren't playing. I don't think there's anything alarming. You just got to give them shorter practices and things like that to keep them healthy and ready to go for the game on Friday. But it's nothing more than just the banging and bruising of 14 games against good teams that we've played all year long. Yeah,
Pottsboro obviously had been playing great football. All right, so Ryan Abner, head coach at Grandview, state championships as a high school player, assistant coach, and also now as the head coach at Grandview and playing Peaster. A team, every time it seemed like I look at their score, because I do a pick 'em on my website, and I also keep up with it. That's what I do. It's a low-scoring game. I'm not saying they haven't had a few games where they didn't score a few points, but usually somewhat close. 17-14 last week, 16-0 2 weeks prior to that. Paradise, they beat them after they lost to them in a close game. Do they play defense that's stingy? Because you put up a lot of big numbers.
That's what people will tell you. I think they're good across the board. I think their offense does a great job of executing. They've got an unbelievable field goal kicker. It's, when you're just watching it from the side of as a defensive coordinator, you don't necessarily always watch the whole game as much as you do just one side. And I feel like they do a great job of moving the ball down the field. So when you look at the scores, it's a little bit different than what the picture on the screen tells you, in my opinion. But I think they've always, in everything they've done, we've played them in a lot of different sports. They're always well coached. They're always fundamentally sound. They play hard. They're similar to us, kind of out in the country, just hard-nosed kids that love to play sports and do a great job of it. And I think when you see those scores, they're used to playing in those type of games. So we have too. So I think it'll be a great test. I think they fly around on defense and are very sound and give you a lot of different looks. But offense makes me just as nervous as the defense, to be honest with you. I know that you see the scores and it kind of stems to more to what you said. But, man, I think they're very, very good at moving the ball in offense.
Yeah, because I just kind of looking at it, and again, you watch the film, you know what you're ready for. 10 of their games have been one score or less they've allowed on defense, and shutouts, 3, 4, 7 points, whatever. And then, of course, the big win against Paradise. Ryan, why don't you like to wear shirts that have collars on them?
I don't know. You have to ask the good Lord that question. I hate stuff around that. I know I have this right now, but it's cold outside. But I can't stand a collar shirt.
Is that a hoodie you're wearing right now? More of a hoodie or kind of a
It's a hoodie, but it's not on my neck. But when it does, I have to get it off. I don't know. I've been that way my whole life. But during the summer when it gets hot and humid, I can't stand stuff touching my neck. It's like. Would you get that from Mr. Basham, I guess?
I'm not. I'm a journalist. I don't give up my sources. I don't give up my. I just was told that you just can't stand collared shirts, and I'm wearing a mock turtleneck, which I like to do when it's cold. I love golf shirts though, because I like to play golf, so I wear golf shirts for the most part. But
I look like an idiot on the golf course. I get all the buttons done. I got it pulled back off my neck if I have to wear one. I can't. I don't know. It's like I told Mr. Basham. I said, our superintendent. I said, do you think I want to be this way? I don't like it. It's just is what it is. It's not. I'm not trying to be argumentative about it. I hate it.
Yeah, there's certain things you don't like around the neck, or some people don't like long sleeves or whatever. So when you have to wear a suit, are you miserable?
I don't wear. I literally bought my first coat jacket after I became the AD head coach. I didn't own one. I had to borrow Mr. Basham's when I interviewed Mr. Perrin as the superintendent. And then after that, I had to go. We won our state championship. I had to go to a dinner with one of my players for the Cleaver and Johnson County deal they put on. And I went and bought one at the Men's Warehouse for the first time in my life. And I only got one more. So the quarterback, Dane Yentz, you were talking about, he's now on my staff, but he asked me to do his wedding. Of which I had no idea how to do, and so I bought one that was the colors for their wedding, and that's the only two that I owe.
Well, and my website is mainly the state, although it started out Greater East Texas, and then when I got here in 2010, I grabbed onto Central Texas, and Grandview's kind of out of it, right? Just like on that northern edge. But I've always loved, as you know, bothering the hell out of you and John Jay trying to get Player of the Week nominations. So I know you got a great staff. Good luck. I know it's been a great run, but you have bigger fish to fry. Peaster this week, and then, of course, possibly next week at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. What's it like, my last question, around the town? You're used to this, but it always is kind of fun to do it again. What is it like around town right now?
I know that the community's fired up. That's what people tell me. I've got a few friends that tell me the vibe of things that are going on. To be quite honest with you, I have coaches that call, like, back when we were in this 2018, 2019, like, hey, what's it like coaching that week? And I said, it's work. It's no different than week one.
You don't even know, yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. And right now it's just work. And I think after being here, this is my 23rd year, I think people just leave me alone and let me do that work. Try not to, bug you too much. And so but I would just say that it's just work. But the community, man, they're fired up. I know that they've got a lot of things to be successful, proud of. Our girls went to state in volleyball, and so the coach has done a great job of putting a lot of good teams together. And I know that this community supports us with all their heart. That's something we truly appreciate.
It's a beautiful place in Grandview, no question. A good country, but also a lot of infrastructure, and it's growing. It's just south. I drive through it all the time, whether I'm on my way to Mansfield or Midlothian, or on my way just up to Fort Worth. Thank you, Ryan. I asked you for about 12 minutes. I've gotten more than that, which is just because I talk too much. Good luck. Congratulations on the run, but I know you have much more to do. Have a great week, and good luck against Peaster.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for having me on.
Ryan Abner, head coach at Grandview on 365 Sports.
My go-to guy. Can you fix my smartphone?
Yes.
You have car batteries?
Yeah.
What about golf cart batteries?
Of course.
Battery from a G-Fob?
Absolutely.
My boat?
Huge variety.
Toy boat?
Sure.
Motorcycles?
You bet.
My apartment building?
Whole building.
Do you have batteries for my party lights?
Yeah.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Peters Ram in Longview is gearing up for this football season during the Make This the Summer event going on now. Make all the right moves by getting 25% off MSRP on new select Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cabs. The season is looking good with the largest selection of new Ram trucks at Peters Ram during the Make This the Summer event. Online at peterscars.com.
At Sturdy Steel, we build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide, we're proud of our reputation for dependable, high-quality work and strong client relationships that stand the test of time. From concept to installation, our team of skilled drafters, welders, and installers takes pride in delivering seating solutions designed to last. With a focus on dependability, transparency, and service, we are here to make the unique needs of architects, contractors, schools, and venues across the country. We ensure every project is seamless, sturdy, and ready for generations of fans to enjoy. That's Sturdy Steel. This is David Smoak's statewide Texas high school football podcast on 365 Sports and powered by Smoaky.com and sponsored by Peter Chevrolet in Longview, an innovative third-generation family dealership dedicated to ethics, integrity, and the community, while creating friendly, intelligent, and transparent environment to assist with any automotive need, large or small.
McNair in the gun with under 2 minutes left, down 44-0, trying to get a score. English right side, and he will score. Touchdown, the senior, Raul English from 2 yards out.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. We are an insurance provider built by Texans for Texans. We've been protecting families in our great state since 1952. Sturdy Steel. We build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide. Batteries Plus. We have the person who can fix what you need with expert knowledge on batteries and have you on your way and good to go in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, with locations throughout the Southwest, serving up tasty food since 1989, including off I-35 in Waco. Next in line, Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. Marco's Pizza, Marcos.com. Pizza lovers get it with 5 locations in the Waco area. Bird Culchin Ford on the Loop and Highway 6 in Waco. And Waco's trusted Ford dealer since 1936. And customers know they can expect us to be fair, honest, affordable, and always committed to the tradition of quality service.
We're about to look at what Jerry Forrest at Pigskin Prep Smoaky.com has listed as the elite games based on his index of every high school, every single high school in the state of Texas, no matter if it's UIL, private, whatever, TAPS, etc., and the best games based on the index of who's ranked in what class, and we'll do that in a minute. And this kind of shows you a little bit, first of all. So the semifinal round, there are 4 games this weekend where teams are 14-0 and playing each other. In 5A, Aledo against Frisco Lone Star. In 4A Division I, Stephenville and Salina. In 4A Division II, Brock and Carthage. And in 2A Division II, Mount Enterprise and Shiner. We've talked quite a bit about that game. Now, look at the records. There are 2 teams at the bottom of this list at 10-4, which means they were 6-4 to end the year, which means they got in and they're still playing. One of them is Joaquin, the Rams, in Class 2A Division I. There are 16 teams. I think there's 40 teams left, 40 teams playing this weekend. Again, 6-man is having the week off because they've already set their championship for next Wednesday. There are 16 teams at 12, 13, or 14-0. You go 12-0. Duncanville, remember, they didn't have an extra game. They had 1 game missing going into the year, and then they had another game that just didn't work. 12-0, 13-0, 16 are still unbeaten. 11 of them are 12 wins and 1 loss, or 13-1. One team is 11-1. There are 7 teams at 12-2, and then one team at 11-2, 2 at 11-3, and also 2 teams that are 10-4. That's the breakdown. Now, what does all that mean? Let's get to the list of the elite games coming up. And again, the number all the way to the right, the lower the number, the better the game. The lower the number is the combined index based on pigskinprep.com, Jerry Forrest, of 1 and 2, for example. That's what you have with Salina and Stephenville. So that's a total 3. If it's a total 3, it's better than a total 7. But total 7 means you still have 2 highly ranked teams. And only the C.E. King Vandergrift game has the most at 26. And we'll get to that in a moment. The black numbers listed to the left of the team in the left column is what is the pick by the index of pigskinprep.com. For example, Salina's a 1-point pick favorite against Stephenville in one of those 4 14-0 games. Brock is a 3-point pick against Carthage. Aledo is a 15-point favorite against Lone Star. Then you have Port Arthur Memorial, 14-0. And you go down the list. South Lake Carroll, a 6-point pick in what ought to be an amazing game against DeSoto. Melissa, after that huge win against Argyle, they're playing South Oak Cliff. That is a pick'em game. PK means pick'em. Then you go down. Shiner is a 5-point favorite against Mount Enterprise. Let's see. Last year in this semifinal round, Shiner beat Bremont 41-33 to get to the state championship game. Richmond Randall. Last year, they in the semifinals, they beat South Oak Cliff 38-35. They're in different sections now, and Richmond Randall favored by 13 against the Greyhounds of Bernie. I got a personal story when I was playing high school at Randolph. We played Bernie. This is not a good one. I was a senior. I did not have a car. Albert Mascola, who was the junior running back, was supposed to come by my house and pick me up. So you go to school Friday, you go by the field house, you get everything ready, then you go home and usually take a nap, get something to eat, take a nap, then you go back to the field house to get on the bus. Albert overslept. My buddy, Albert Mascola, overslept. Could not, so I have no ride. I banging up the phone of all my buddies. Albert finally comes racing down the road, picks me up. We get to the field house. We go to open the door. We don't see any buses. The door's locked. Boom. There's nothing worse than that. Boom. And we don't know what to do. Coach Mickler, the Hall of Fame coach, you got to understand, he's as old school as anybody, like I am now, although I don't know if I'm old school now. We get in the car. Bernie's a pretty good ride from where we were at Randolph Air Force Base. It starts pouring down rain. Albert had a convertible, and we couldn't get the roof up. As we're racing down the highway to try to get to Bernie, we missed the team bus. We pull up. We walk up. We don't have anything. We could have easily just made the trip and been told we're not going to play. Jimmy Turnbow, the offensive line coach who passed away earlier this year, he liked me. I don't know why. He just did. He comes walking out of the field house and sees Albert and I, doesn't even say anything to Albert. He's our running back. He's really good. I'm just a guy. I'm just a two-way starter that's just there. And he says to me, Smoak, we've got your uniform, your pads, the helmet, and everything else in your locker room. We'll talk to you later. So I go get dressed. Albert just stands there. Finally, they get Albert. They have your stuff too. We get beat 7-0 in the absolute pouring deluge at Bernie, 7-0. And there's a fumble near the goal line. We have the ball. We're down 7-0. And the center, I'm not going to bring him up. The center and Eric Cox, the quarterback, who was a junior, the pouring down rain. I'm the right guard. They go to center. The ball squirts out of the hands of either both or the center, or Eric couldn't grab it on the ground. I'm underneath the pile at about the 1 foot line. I have the ball to save us because it was third down. And someone comes underneath and punches it, squirts out from underneath of me, goes in the end zone. Bernie recovers, touchback. And we missed the team bus. We ended up playing. We lost the game. I had to bring that up about Bernie. Also, last couple of notes. Newton, 13-1. East Bernard, they got great history. They're 10-4, one of two 10-4 teams left. There you see the Grandview Peaster game. We just spoke with Ryan Abner. Joaquin lost to Ganado last year in the semifinals. They're playing Refugio. They're always there. Allen and Duncanville, can it get much better and bigger than that? And then also there's Sinton and West Orange Stark. You've got Hamilton, who just beat Axtell to get to the semis, where they lost last year to Stanford. They're playing West Texas. Lake Travis and North Shore is an underrated game. North Shore just kind of going about their business this year. And then someone beat them up pretty good. Oh, it was Summer Creek. And here they are with North Shore. And then C.E. King and Vandergrift. Vandergrift won it all last year in a win against South Lake Carroll in the 6A Division II state championship game. One note about Duncanville. Garrett, 8 consecutive semifinal appearances in 6A big boy football. That they win all of them, but 8 consecutive, including where they'll be this week and also playing in the semifinals against Allen. 14-0 against 11-1. When we come back, it will be the state championship week. So we'll be on maybe a day earlier than normal because all the games that start on Wednesday was 6-man, and then there's going to be a 2A game that evening. Look forward to the weekend. We're not done. High school football with a week left. I'm David Smoak for Garrett Roston. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to Grandview's Ryan Abner. Thanks to you, 365 Sports and the Texas High School Football Statewide Podcast.